Hey everyone, this is David D. Hilser. No, I am not Angela Taylor. I am your MC for tonight, and we're going to have a great show for you. We're hoping, I wanted to put this together because Angela Taylor, she is an amazing soul in the area of theater. I've known a lot of people over the years, and she is just doing tremendous work. She is a choreographer for not only Boca High, also West Boca, but also the Wick Theater. And I mean, she is just a dynamo that doesn't stop. She's going to be here tonight with us talking. But we have also other people we have students and teachers from the Taylor Made Studios and Dance Theater. So it's going to be great. The whole idea for the show is we're going to do this probably about once a month in Taylor Talks and tell you about what's happening in the area of theater in Boca here through the eyes of Angela Taylor and all the people around her. So it's going to be a great time. And I've got a little graphic about her and say and by the way, if you want, you can make comments and we can put those comments on air live. So if you have any questions for any of these people that we have on, just type it in there and we'll put them up there. So we hope you enjoy this. I want to show you a little trailer, a little stinger here about Angela before we look at some of the things before we bring her on. So that's Angela, and she will be here in a little bit. But right now, I'm going to be showing you the website from there, the dance studio itself. If you don't know what that is or where that is, that's at tailormadedanceandtheater.com. And we also you can see scrolling there at the bottom incessantly being like, one of those signs that you can't, take it off. No, we don't want to take it off because there's a Christmas show coming up on the 12th and the 13th. And the good news is it's COVID time. Well, why would that be good news? Well, the good news is that you'll be able to watch it online. That's not something normally you get to do in real shows because we want your posteriors will be nice. So posteriors in the seats when people do live shows, because there's nothing more amazing to be and feel the energy from the crowd if you're an actor or a dancer or a singer or all of those things in musical theater. And it's also something that if you're in the audience and you see it live, there's so much more. But I think there may be a few tickets left on, if you go to Taylor Made Theater, we're going to go to that website real quick here. But I think there's a few more tickets left for the in live. I think it's Studio B. Don't quote me on that because, but it's in Boca, or I think it may be in Deerfoot. I don't know. Anyways, we've got all that information. You're going to find it online. And if you can't make it and you want to watch it, for instance, on Saturday, you can buy a ticket. I think it's only $15 and you'll be able to see the show not interactively, but live over the internet, and you will get all that information if you indeed want to watch it over the internet. I've lost that, folks. Sorry about that. Anyways, the reason I'm worried about that is like, wait a minute, my guest is actually here. I'm going to show her to everyone here, the guest of honor. I want to play that one more time again. I'm sorry, trying to do many things at once, tongue-tied and didn't speak. It's like I lost my line here, but I'm going to run this one more time because we're going to bring her on right now. She finally came from her busy days. I think she slept last month. I believe she did. I'm not sure, but I think that's what happened. But let me get this off the screen here and let's run this so she can see it because she's coming right up. Angela, how are you?
Hi.
Oh my
Good.
gosh. I tell you, I was like holding the fort down because I know you're a busy lady. I've got people already in the green room working. We got all kinds of stuff. I've got lots of questions, but how are you in these crazy days of COVID?
I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. I think like the rest of us. We all seem to have our challenges, and we definitely have had a few here, but we're working them out and moving along. So I can't complain.
Well, that's good. Well, I'll tell you what we want to do is first talk today about the show coming up. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the show, what your concept was, the whole thing? I mean, what I didn't even know. I mean, my daughter's been going in the summer, and then all of a sudden, she goes, "There's going to be a Christmas show." I go, "Who's going to do it?" Angela says, "Like she has enough to do in her life." I mean, how? Tell us, how did this happen? What's the idea? What's going on? There's just so much there.
Well, honestly, the reason why the Christmas show ended up coming up on our table was because we really noticed that there was a need for our students to have something to look forward to. But not just the students, but their parents and family members, and honestly, the community. So we wanted to do something that would give everybody a little bit of, I don't know, holiday cheer. And so many of our students, I really think that they've been stuck in this place where they think that like this is the end, and nothing's going to be able be the same, and we'll never get to do live performances. And I don't think that that's necessarily true. I just think that we're going to have to restructure how we do live performances for a while. And all we can do is try. So this is our first attempt. And we're going to see what, after we do this the first time, the things that we need to kind of tweak, in order to do it again. But that's really why it started. The brainchild was to see the kids smile, to be honest with you.
Well,
Just
no,
happy.
oh, absolutely. I've told you many times. I know you get emotional about it, but it's absolutely true. I mean, I have an oldie daughter. She's wanted to be in theater since she could almost walk, and the idea of COVID coming along and taking everything away from a person who that's their life, that's the way they live, and to have a program like you have, and to have you and other people around you give these kids a place where, I'm a computer guy. I can sit here and type all day. It doesn't matter to me, right? But if you're a musical theater person and you interact and you play off audiences or those kinds of things, what are you going to do? Especially if you're young and you're growing. You not only do you have to not do it, but you also have to learn. I mean, that's the other thing. You have a studio where you have, how do you teach? Tell us about, okay, you've got a Christmas show, but you gotta practice somewhere. Tell us about,
Right.
you just opened up a studio, and of course, when did you pick? You picked the best time. You picked it during the height of the economy, where
Yes.
nothing is going wrong politically. Everybody's good. I mean, you picked the hardest time in the last 70 years to start it, but you seem to be thriving. Tell us about your adventure. And I mean, you told me you were planning this for years, right? Having a studio.
Yeah, it was actually 4 years in the making, and I've been a performer my entire adult life, so it's not like I had a huge, large savings behind me. I went from professionally performing, then I retired, and went into education as well, and then I switched to doing professional choreography. So I think that. Wait a minute, can you ask your question again? Because I just lost it.
No, the question is, how did you start? You started the studio this year,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
there's
It
a
was a
back, what's the
4 year.
back, yeah, there's a backstory.
There's a backstory.
You didn't just say like, oh, it's March, the kids don't have a place, let me open a studio, all right?
No,
And that didn't happen. So,
no. I've actually been working with a lot of the high schools for the last, well, gosh, I think like 16 years now in this
wow.
community, and as much as I could see that we were capable of doing in the schools, there was a lot that wasn't being done for the students, and that was due to either our budget cuts or just not having the backing from the districts to be able to do all the things that we wanted to do. So the schools generally always brought me in as the professional, kind of like the someone coming in from the outside world, right? So an independent contractor. But what I started noticing is the students that wanted to go into this after high school weren't really getting all the things they needed in order to make the dream, I guess, come true, if we want to be that like cliche about it. And I thought, okay, I can do a lot of talking, or I can start making solutions. And so I wanted to make solutions, and that's where the idea of the school was to be, the schools would be a feeder program for us, and in return, we would help the schools in the area be able to offer programming that they couldn't offer. Now, that was the idea when we first started. That, and then helping students who are pre-professional and professional move forward. So like pre-professional going into college, getting their pre-screens done, actually understanding what their pre-screens are. We've introduced the CAP program with Dave Clement. There's so many really wonderful things that we're trying to bring in so that parents and students, because it's not just about the kids, it's also the parents have no idea. Like, it's so very, very confusing. And so, yeah, so it's so hard. So, we're bringing in those things to help the school. That's what really started it. And then we finally got the money saved up, my husband and I, enough, and we opened it on March 15th. And then we were closed on March 16th. And I just remember sitting here, looking at the halls. And it was really funny because I'm sure many people open businesses up because they want it for a livelihood. And it's not that I don't. But when I was sitting there in that moment, I remember thinking the halls were empty. And I had been waiting for 4 years to see them bustling in and being excited to see their home. And I sat here with no one by myself. And I have to say, it was a really defining moment where I had to kind of choose whether to give up or to, dig my feet in and move forward. Because at that point too, we put all our savings into it.
Yeah.
And when COVID hit too, I lost all my independent contracting jobs at the school. Yeah. So it was just a real wild ride. And in June, we were able to reopen for our intensive. I had some, one thing I have to say is like the time that we put into our students, it is immense, and it is very comprehensive. But with times like this, you start to see why it was so important. They were showing up out of the woodwork and helping me build a floor. And, we couldn't get anybody in here because of COVID, understandably. And I had girls showing up and they helped me build my floor. They helped me paint the walls. It was really quite remarkable. And we're just plugging along. So at this point, we're capable of keeping the school open. We have about 70 students, which I think, coming from a place of COVID crazy, I really wasn't sure we would even have 10 students. So I feel as though, that aspect we're doing really great. But now we kind of need to up the ante so that I can start offering scholarships to kids and, helping. I want to be able to help them.
Wow. Gee whiz, what, like you hadn't done enough to open up during COVID, put your life savings into it, open and go with no one for a couple months, and you're worried about getting scholarships for kids. Oh my gosh.
I know.
I don't know. No, you know what? I work in the area of artificial intelligence, and I'm starting to think you're not human. I really don't think so. I honestly think, I would take that ribbon off your hair, and there are a couple of screws there, and maybe they're loose, but
that's actually so true. There's a little madness underneath the cap. I'm not gonna lie, but
no, but I think it was just. I think one of the great things. I'm not a spiritual or religious person myself, and I know a lot of people are, but I believe in a lot of just good vibes. And I think what happened is you opened out. I think what really happened is, and I want to tell you, this is going to be weird. So I want you to remember this 10 years from now.
Okay.
That you actually opened up at the right time, because when you open up at a regular time, you're just going to be another studio. And there's lots of studios, and how can, Angela, of course you have great program, but you open up and you're brave enough to we're going to open and we're going to do COVID. And it was I was telling people I knew, it's there's no studios open. He goes, yes, there is. There's one that's opening up. And that was, I think, really something that got you going, and you just had no fear of that, did it. And we were luckily in a state that was a little bit more lenient on that. And I think, we have the video, which we'll probably play later, that shows how you do the COVID and all that. But
it's intense. It's a lot.
Yeah. So, okay, before we go on, we did talk about the studio, but we want to talk about, we're going to get back to that. But let's talk about the Christmas show just right now, because that's more immediate. That's coming up this weekend.
Right.
So now we know about your studio. At least there's a little bit backstory there. Tell us about, how this came about. Obviously, it sounds like very much of the same thing, right? I mean, what are kids going to do?
Yeah.
It's one thing to take classes, but in the end, I don't think people are professional class takers. I think in the end they want to perform or maybe teach, right? So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so tell us a little bit about the story about this Christmas show, what your ideas were, how that came about, where it's being held, that kind of thing. I can always come back with all the questions when you forget, so don't
Okay,
worry.
good, because you know my brain, like right
So
now, it's
yeah,
like
first
so hard to keep anything together. It's
don't worry.
awful.
That's why I'm here.
But
That's
you know,
why I'm
I
here.
had a meeting, a production meeting at Brand Star Studios, and probably I think it must have been like probably an hour into it, and I had to actually stop. They asked me a question, I had to stop and go, "I'm really sorry," but I'm like, "What day is it?" Like I had zero idea of what day it was, and it was really embarrassing because I'm like, I mean, like I was 3 days off. I mean, so yeah, we can't trust my brain at all. The way this show came about again was kind of, I think I might be insane because now that I'm like looking at how crazy, like I don't know, I might be a little touch of insanity.
That's forever. Okay, let's just stop here. We all know you're insane, and that's why you're here. Look, if no one wants to see a sane person on a show, I'm not going.
That's
We're
a
not
good
going to
point.
get. We're not going to get any clicks. Why do you think Trump was so good? You don't like him or hate him. He was a disaster. He was a show waiting to explode, and it was ratings. So
That's so
let's
true.
get over it.
That is so true.
I do want you to repeat now and then that you are a little crazy because that does help. Because if
Yeah,
somebody
I am
walks in the
definitely
middle,
crazy. So
they're
anybody
gonna what
watching
they're
the
gonna
show,
want right exactly. If
I'm
they
here.
want to see you lose it at any time.
Yeah,
So
I'm down. I'm down. Like
so
bring it
so
on.
in other words, your idea of the Christmas show was also one of your crazy ideas. Is that
It
what
was
I'm
definitely a
getting?
crazy idea. Now that I'm looking at it afterwards, seem to do have a moment where I like get myself into it, and then I'm like, oh wow, this is like a lot. You know, like how did I know this? But yeah, the idea started because again, working with so many schools. I mean, I run 3 different programs. I run Boca High, West Boca, and Palm Beach Central. I run their dance programs for their theaters.
Right.
So seeing all the cancellations of the shows, there were a few of the schools I worked for, we actually didn't even get to do all the shows in March because we got shut down beforehand. So many of them weren't going to get to perform. And so I kind of panicked along with the students thinking like, what are we going to do? Because the schools are, they're set by the district. There's just nothing we can do unless they agree, and it goes down the line. So I thought, what can I do? All right. I love Christmas. I'm a Christmas dork. The students all know it. Like I can't even get it. Like,
Really,
oh,
really.
oh,
Where did you grow up, anyways?
in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, of
So
course.
there's
Yeah,
like
I grew up in
beautiful.
Ohio. They're Christmas crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Dude, we cut down our own Christmas tree and like drug it in
Oh
from the
my
forest. Yeah, it was total Norman
goodness.
Rockwell stuff. Like I love it. So I love Christmas and I'm like, oh, it's happy, right? Now at the time I thought COVID, everybody was so miserable. And I'm like, all right, Christmas is coming. We all need to look forward to Christmas, whether we did a show or not, just because I think that everybody in the communities all over the world just need just a little hope, a little joy, a little
Right. No,
festivity,
absolutely.
right? And so that was like, all right, Christmas is a great time. I knew it would avoid any problems if the students got to do shows later in the year at their school. So I'm like, well, let's do Christmas. And then
Right.
my husband, who's also a writer, he was
Yes.
like, well, I'll write the show. So we actually wrote the musical. So
That helps.
yeah, that helps, right? That was great. So Michael wrote the musical. I picked all the songs, and the poor guy, I literally said, "Here's the song list," and he looked at it,
Make a
and
story.
he was like, "Wait a second, how am I?" He's like, "All right, I'll just
It's
figure
not
it
my
out."
problem. It's not my problem. You're the
Yeah.
writer, right? Come
Well,
on.
yeah, exactly. Wait till you see the songs. You're gonna laugh. You'll be like, "How? How?" But he did. He made it work. And then what I started to do is because I don't personally like to take class time up by working on choreography for shows, right? Like I
Right.
want the kids to continue training. So what we did is we haven't really pushed into our classes. We've kept training, right? And then 1 day a week, we have had 3 classes that we work on what we call repertoire stuff. So it's like
Right.
learning choreography from West Side Story or whatever and delving into it. So instead of working on that, we worked on pieces from the show because it was and it was always in techniques that were similar to what
Right.
they were taking.
Sure. Sure.
Um, and then we had rehearsals on Saturday and Sunday. And when I tell you, we have probably had like maybe 7 days of rehearsal. Like to put
Wow.
this thing together. I mean, it has been hours, not weeks or days or what. It's been hours that these kids, but the whole thing I keep trying to explain to them is that one of the things that TaylorMade really wants them to understand is that if you train, putting a show together is, it's still difficult and hard, but it is not difficult in the way of learning as you go on the show. You just walk in and you know your stuff. So that's what we're trying to kind of put to practice a little sooner, I have to say, than we thought. I mean, some of our kids have just started dancing a few short months ago.
Yes, I know. My daughter is like couldn't even twirl and spin, and it was like now she's not only doing that, but she's doing it in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, you guys are brave.
Yeah, we are. I know. That's why I said I think I'm a little insane. But what is so funny that we found out is that there were like some kids that didn't even realize it was a musical, and I think it's like this is like one of the COVID things that has been happening. It's like they kind of turn off, and because I don't know what it was, but we had one guy, like one of my alumni, when I handed him the book, he went, "What's this?" I said, "It's your script." And he said, "Wait, this is like a show?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it is." I'm like, "It is." He's like, "Okay." So like we've got alumni, we've got current students. There's
Oh yeah. Well, you've left a trail of people who like you. You know, I mean the first, well, I don't know. The first time I met you was like, get out of my shot. That's how I met you, right?
Yeah, that wasn't good though. That was bad.
But you know, then here we are. I'm just a totally huge fan. What I'd like to do right now is actually play a video that you put up on Facebook for people, which is a nice video, I think. And let's take a look at that, and hopefully that'll all work here. Let me get this. I'm going to remove this and say add to stream. Hold on. I'm going to stop that, and I got to do this so we can share it. I'm going to bring myself up here only, and I'm doing this live. I want to make sure I have the audio because you run the show when you're the MC as well here. So I'm going to do the screen share. I am going to click share the audio as well, and I'm going to do the entire screen here. There we go, and hopefully we'll see that, which we do. Yeah, there we go. And we should play this. And I guess, I don't know if you and I will hear it, but they should hear it. Here we go. People hearing that? Give me a thumbs up somewhere.
I hear it.
Okay, good. I can't. That's what
I think I sent you a new one from today, too.
So this is inside the studio.
Yeah.
And you knows everybody. They got their masks on. Hard at work. Absolutely. That's why my daughter's is sleeping at 10:30 at night.
They do work really hard. There's just we've got some little peanuts in there too. Got some very younger group.
Of course, yes.
So great.
Really good dancing too. That's hard. I know. I've tried it. It's real hard. It looks easy. Go and do that.
I know.
Yeah.
Look, there's your peanut.
Yeah, there she is. She is just having the time of her life. But when I tell people she's taking eight dance classes, they freak out. Like, you know, like I'm some helicopter dad.
No, I know.
I mean, I said no. I said if she could take more, she'd take more. And I think it's one of the great things about your studio is that you have this all-you-can-eat kind of thing where you have a really good, oops, don't want to go into that. Stop it, Dave. Get it down there. Remove it. See, I'm just, what kind of MC kind of guy am I here? But hey, we're getting more people. We must be, I can see our number of people watching. And of course, if you're watching recorded, we welcome you as well. So again, let's talk now about, I'm going to go away from this part of the website and let's talk about the show itself. I'm going to go to the website for, which is the Taylor website, which I'll put up here in the banner. This is the website you can go to, TaylorMadeDanceAndTheater.com, spelled the English way, of course. There you can buy tickets online there. I guess. And it's as your husband was watching, he better be watching. I'll tell you.
I hope
Um,
so.
he did say I had him up here. I couldn't remember. It's like B Studios or something, but it's he said it right here. He is.
There he is.
That's not him. That's not his picture. I don't like that. He needs to get
That
his own
is,
picture.
that's my daughter. Yeah, that's my
Oh,
daughter. It's a little peanut.
that's right. I figured
Oh,
why was his picture so beautiful and he's not? So there, I figured something was going on. But here you can see the tickets here. There, you also have donations, which is I went in there. We're going one day, but I made one of these donations to your place because you
well,
guys
thank
do some,
you.
and we bought our tickets for live. We're going to be there on Sunday, so you have lots of ways you can find out about it and buy your tickets online. I think we're sold out on Saturday. I think if you want to go in
Yeah,
person,
it
I
has
think
to be
Sunday is
Sunday.
a and you know what? Sunday is going to be better because when you have the shorter schedule, I think that but that's never true. You never
No,
know. It
no,
could
but
be
I
the
would.
you can be
I
the
think so
energy. Could
too.
be yeah, but the
Yeah,
energy. If you do a what I found, if you do this long sequence of 3 to 5 to year practicing, that first few nights there, oh wow,
yeah,
and then it starts to settle in.
yeah.
Then, if you have a shorter time, sometimes it's better the second night, but it's going to be great. What are people going to see? Tell me about. I bought a ticket. My family and
Okay.
I bought a ticket. What's going to happen? How can we during COVID go and actually watch this thing?
So the first thing that is actually really interesting is that one of the things that I haven't actually gotten to yet is that we partnered up with Brandstar Productions, and they are a film and television studio in the Pompano area, and they, first of all, are absolutely fantastic. I mean, their facility is insane. I didn't even know it was there, and I'm friends with Mark and Mary who own the business. And they kind of did this like, oh yeah, we have like a cute little production studio, and I like walked in and was like, holy cow, this is like insane. So it's an amazing space. And we decided to do it there for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the space is really great, but we wanted to, Brandstar and myself, see if we could find a way to make it a little bit easier for the theaters around the area to do shows. So we came up with this idea of doing it in the actual space and being able to um, live stream it, but live stream it professionally. Not where I mean, I've done a little things for our intensive
Yeah,
video.
not like this, where
Yeah.
in the beginning where I had literally 7 seconds of not knowing what to say. It was painful.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they actually what they do is, what I can understand, is they are a studio. I think they shoot some live to tape stuff there,
Oh,
right?
this is actually the first live show they've ever done, which is why we're
Right, live, but live to
yeah,
tape means what they do is they shoot it as it's live, even though it
absolutely.
doesn't go live. And then
Exactly.
I think there's a show that they regularly shoot there. So
There's
that means they have multi cameras, they switch it live.
oh
So
yeah,
going
no, it's
live to them
amazing.
is just going to be a no brainer for them, right?
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. They do a lot of times, a lot of stuff for Lifetime, and they also oh, give me a second. Montel Williams does a show with them as well that they're very big on. Um,
Right, right.
and the thing is that so when they come, the one thing that all the people the patrons who actually come to see the show have to understand is that they're actually coming into a filming studio, not a theater. So
Right.
first of all, for all of us, this is new territory. I mean, it's like we don't have a stage. We have, a film stage. It's very, very different. So
Right.
there's a lot that we have to actually figure out of how it works and how we're going to get it all together. But um, the way that we've set it up is that, so first of all, anyone who comes to see should understand, oh, there it is, Brandstar.
Yeah, that's
Brandstar is,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they will have basically how we're going to do this as well with families and to keep everybody safe through COVID times. Is we've done a couple of things. And one is when anybody buys tickets, let's say we have a family or a group of people who buy 5 tickets, that family or group would stay together and be seated around a table. So we have
Oh,
a lot of
okay.
round top tables, and then those tables are socially distanced from each other. So we've got like your group
Oh,
of five
okay.
here, and then 6 feet away we've got another table, and so on and so forth. All people are required, both audience members and performers, to wear masks. So even our
Okay.
performers are wearing masks the whole time. I know it's not like the perfect world. what we'd like, but we are living in COVID times. So in order for me, I'm not as worried about our students because our students are together quite often.
Of course.
But I am concerned about the audience, so we will be wearing masks as well. We also have drinks that will be served. And instead of people getting up and going to the bar, we will actually have servers where you text your drink order and they bring everything to you. This way, people aren't kind of coming up and moving around as much. And then we have a whole set of protocol for the performers and stage and crew. I mean, just a massive, even to the point where every time they exit the stage, they get rid of the disposable mask they have. And they have to hand sanitize, pick up a new mask, put it on, and get back into the dressing room to change.
Wow.
So it's going to be a bit. There's just me so many added things that we're really not used. The kids aren't used to.
Right.
I'm certainly not used to. But like, we can fake it. We're big people. But like, it's going to be a lot of trying to stay calm backstage to help them actually execute this in a timely fashion. It's going to be hard, but I think they're up for it. I think they're ready for it. So and you're going to see so many different things. My goodness, we've got point, we have fabric, we've got ice sculptures that dance, we have elves and vocals, and that's the other thing actually it's interesting for those of us who are a little worried about coming to see a live show during COVID times is we've actually taken all the group vocals out of the show, and they're just being pumped in. That way we don't have a bunch of singers singing all throughout the day and spreading germs everywhere. But we've kept our soloists, our duets, and our carolers. But they're all also distanced. And I've done a lot of research into this. But they're distanced far enough away from the audience members. And they're still wearing their masks. But those are the only people that actually will sing live in the show. And this was so that we could aim them in different directions and not directly at the audience.
Right. Now, another thing that you have, and I walked in, is the amazing costumes, right?
Oh,
and I do have the website here, which is the Wick Theater, and they have they got a costume collection. I once saw them. I think it was in Pompano or something, on Federal or something. It was the most immense warehouse of costumes I've seen. And I was in Hollywood a while, and I saw some big warehouses.
Yeah,
I mean, tell us about some of the. They're one of their sponsors who are working with you, and you one of the places you do choreography is the Wick, which is just a top of. To me, it's off Broadway, worst case, if not Broadway. Really.
Oh,
tell us about tell us about the costumes you got from them.
So so the Wick Theater. They also their other company is called Costume World Theatrical.
Right.
And that's where the costumes are coming from.
Right.
And basically, it's just I really don't want to give too much away, but they're
right, of course.
Fantastic.
Right.
And Costume World is the largest costume house in the United States.
Right.
And she has large Broadway collections. One of actually, which is really exciting, one of the soloists is actually wearing Patti LuPone's dress from Evita. And I swear to God, I thought she was just going to lose her mind when she saw it. Was like so exciting just to show her the dress. I was just like,
I think I saw that when I was in there. I was wondering why she was screaming. I couldn't figure out that. I mean, okay, the dress is really nice, but why is she screaming? And I guess, okay, that is amazing. That is amazing.
There's a lot of lineage in those costumes, and that's another
of course
thing we really tried to talk about. Is to have pride in that. That's just it's such a wonderful thing, and we cannot thank the Costume World Theatrical enough for donating. They've donated every single costume that you see, every costume.
And there were a lot. You have two rooms, pretty big size rooms, a big one and a less big one. And the less big one was full. I mean, it was just full of hanging costumes. And my daughter went in there, and she grew up around all those Brazilian costumes, which you saw when we did that thing at there. And she just, for her to be impressed, that's hard because she sees a lot of great costumes. So we really do want to thank the Wick for what they do. And of course, you've got all the connections. That's why this is the Taylor Talks.
Yes,
so tell me again now. Let's talk about those people who aren't aren't here, but also can watch it from afar. I mean, one of the problems is when you have these events and you have even a musical like Chicago or West Boca had the Sister Act, which was
Yes,
fantastic, by the way.
so great.
The
Thank
Wanda
you.
and I got to see that. Of course, Chicago was ridiculous. I mean, it was absurd. I filmed it, and when I was watching, I go, "This is absurd." I mean, this is Broadway stuff. What are we doing here? It's just
I know.
amazing.
It's wild.
So normally when you have that, you have only the audience, and so your aunt and uncles and our we have a ton of relatives in Brazil, and I mean a ton. My wife is one of 10 children. Okay,
Wow.
so they want to see Luanda doing something live, and now they get to have a chance. Tell us, how is that happening? How is Brandstar, right, is doing this? How
Yeah.
do people go about to see that?
So they're using this platform. Hopefully, I've got it right. I think it's Hopin. If I get it, is it Hopin? We've talked about a couple, but anyways, basically, if you go to our website and you'll see a link that you can click on. One says the premiere performance, and the second one is encore, which is your Sunday performance. If you click on that, it actually sends you right to the webpage where you can buy the tickets or do the donation, and it can be seen anywhere in the world, and that for me is absolutely thrilling because my parents don't live here.
Right,
They're in Pennsylvania. My husband's are in England.
right,
It's for us, it's great. We've got students who have people from South Africa watching. There's just it opens up such a really great, and it's not. And the thing again, I have nothing against it because I do it and I will do it again, which is setting up my Zoom and doing something back here, and it's great. But this is not going to be like that. This is professionally
oh,
shot.
I know, no,
And
no,
it's just
absolutely,
it's going to be
absolutely.
such a treat, I think, for everyone involved.
No, it is. And my question is, this is going to be interesting because it's going to go on, I think, for longer than we may think, because
Yeah.
they're thinking the peak's going to be February, March, which means it's going to still be around. This could break some new ice. I mean, one of the things is they've been very reluctant in the industry to go live
Yeah.
because, oh, well, people won't get people in the seats. That's not true, folks. There's so many people outside. Here's what happened with universities. A couple of universities started doing it online. Then when COVID hit, now universities are seeing some universities get more money from their students who aren't on campus than the ones on campus. So
Wow.
hopefully, maybe this will start a trend so that when a high school group's doing it, you look at the system that I helped set up in your place. You can
Yeah.
have multi cameras and switch it on the line. Look at this. I mean, this
And
is
it's been helpful. I mean, it's been crucial for us, in my opinion, to
right,
it's been a learning curve, but at the same point, it was what we talked about doing right when we opened. I didn't wait.
right,
We set it up in June. It was like, all right, I
right,
see this is headed in a direction that I don't want to. I didn't want to be caught like I was last time. Very
right,
unprepared and I couldn't serve my students very well because
right,
I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, just trying, just like them. So I just wanted to make sure this time we would be set up.
right,
Everything you can do here, you can do online.
right, right.
Everything.
Right. So, okay. So we've talked about the studio. We've talked about your story there. We talked about the show coming up. So people know how to get to the show. Go to this website. You can buy your tickets, even if you're from afar. You can make a donation. The donations are greatly appreciated because there's a lot of
Oh,
kids
please.
that really need this. And I know my daughter without this would be, looking into another career. No, she wouldn't be doing that, but she would be totally depressed. So,
It really has actually
oh
saved
yeah,
so many, and
absolutely.
without sounding like dramatic,
Right,
right? It's been this weird thing watching starting from the beginning of COVID into where we are and the
right,
transitions that the students have kind of gone into. And there's so many of them, and they've become like almost like protective of the school, if I could say that,
right,
because
right,
it's like their lifeline. It's the
right.
only thing that they're allowed to do. It's the
Yes.
only thing that brings them any kind of real happiness right now. I hate to say
Yeah.
that.
No, it's true.
It's like
Absolutely.
tangible, I guess. And like
It is.
I think it also helps because we do tend to try to stay positive here, and show them that,
Not COVID wise, okay? Right?
yeah, no, no, we try
You
to,
should
no,
say
exactly. We
positive,
try
no,
to stay
positive
very,
emotionally,
yeah,
right?
our
Positive
attitude,
emotionally.
yeah, we
Right,
try to be
absolutely.
hopeful, maybe hopeful is
Right.
a better report.
Right. No, no,
And I think that the
absolutely.
kids coming into that every day, with whatever stress they've dealt with at school or home or whatever's happening, and they come in here, and I think that they are surrounded by like-minded people. They're surrounded by
Right.
people who are saying like, "Hey, I know today was bad, but now you're here. Let's have fun together. Let's do what you love to do, and just take a few moments for yourself and defrag." And that
Right.
has really, really helped so many of these teens, since we work with a lot of teens. I mean, that's kind of our
Absolutely,
thing.
absolutely. In
So
fact,
yeah.
yeah. So, what I want to do now is I have two people in our green room, and I've got Summer and I've got Abril. And the reason we have them in is there's a lot to learn here. Summer is a student that I got to know actually when my daughter was in the sixth grade, and my daughter played the sour kangaroo, and Summer played JoJo. And I got to meet, and I know a lot of the people that Calvin was the cat in the
Oh,
hat,
that's
and
great.
Brian was the elephant,
Oh
Horton,
no! Oh, my husband
and
Michael will be like that one. He was the elephant.
so I know her from a long time. I mean, we've admired her work, but she's in a unique position, and I think something that you can learn a lot. What's great about the internet is I spent a lot of time during this COVID to look on the internet and try to get feedback from people going through what my daughter's going to go through. She's in sophomore right now, and she wants to go into theater. What do you do? What should you study? What should you learn? What's it like? And I think Summer is a person you've been around with you for a while. She's done some big productions and been some big. I mean, last year she was basically the star, pretty much, of two
With Selma
absolutely
Kelly.
amazing. I don't know how can you memorize that much stuff. And so I thought we would bring her on and to talk about what her experience was like, and what she has been doing. So let's bring her on and say hello. Get started. Hello, Summer. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Yeah. So I
Hi,
guess
Summer.
two things that we want to talk to you with about is, one, you're a senior and you're going through all the what a senior needs to do to get into theater. And of course, we have right next to you Angela, who is giving you hopefully an opportunity that you may not have, especially during COVID, that about how what has let's start with this, because we're going to get into two things. One is, what are you doing? But start out first of all, what Angela and her vision and her amazingly giant heart, make her cry kind of thing,
Oh,
what has she done and been in Taylor Studios been able to do? I mean, I see you in there that to help you out with you getting into college during COVID. I mean, that's not easy. I see you in there filming, doing stuff. Tell us what this means to you. I think that's an important thing for people to know what Angela's done for you specifically.
That is
Whoops, wrong person. See,
no, that is a very large question with a very large answer. I mean, I've been with Miss Angela for this is like my 6th year with her, and it's been a privilege to be a part of this insane journey and to get to tailor-made dance and theater. Like, we used to be in the yoga room at Boca High doing like practicing pirouette turns and learning about a true classical jazz plie turn. And I mean, thinking back to all of that and thinking about where we are now, it's really been the craziest but also the best thing that I could have ever been a part of. So I thank her for that. I thank her for the performer that I am. I credit her with everything. She built me as a performer from the ground up. I will never be able to repay her for anything that she's done for me. She
egads, I'm going to have to come in here before everybody starts crying and we have no dialogue at all. No, but it's so true though. It's so true. I mean, I'm not even around her only a number of months, and what she has done. Tell us some of the things that you learn with her. What does Angela bring, especially to the Boca area? Well, it's really southern Florida, that really is that you see has just been invaluable to you.
It's a completely different experience than you could ever get personal. She really has a vested interest in her students and getting to know the student for who they are, not generalizing them, teaching you how to be a performer, be a true performer, be a nice person. It's not just performance skills, but it's also life skills and how to be successful in the areas that you want to be. And I've learned, I mean, let me pan over here. I have her words put on my wall over there. Just so everyone knows.
I did not know that.
How badly do you want it? Run towards the things that scare you. You have the solution. Don't become the problem. Things that are ingrained in my brain that help me every single day to sometimes get out of bed in the morning. So it's been, I mean, it's just been such a privilege to come and like encounter her in my life because she has completely changed it for the better.
Well, that's amazing. Tell us a little bit about your senior. Okay, you've trained in dance, in voice, acting, all of those things. But how long? First of all, how long have you been preparing and knowing about where you're going? At least you're going to a college. Is that your goal? So there's different ways you can do it. You can do it sort of individually, or you can go to like the Unity things. I know you're doing it more individual, but it doesn't really change much of what you need to do. Tell us if okay, let's say you're talking to my daughter Luanda, who's a sophomore. Tell us what's been your journey, maybe through your at least your high school years. What is that journey like? What are you preparing? What you're now at that point? Do you feel prepared? What do you have to do? What are what do you do? I don't know. If a sophomore like daughter, she's not doing this right now. Tell us where you are, where you're going, what you're doing.
One of the biggest parts about the getting into college and the college experience is realizing that there's no top school. There's no like number one school in the United States. It's not like that. It's very individual. It's very much who you are as a performer, who you want to be as a performer, what school is going to give you the resources and provide you with the education that you want in order to achieve your goals. And what are those goals? Like it's so many things to consider, but really, I mean, Miss Angela's taught me this, getting in touch with your own artistry and what kind of performer you are striving to be. If that's a triple threat, then you want to pick a program that has equal training in all three aspects, or even more aspects than that. If you also want to be able to play an instrument, if you also want to do this, like there is so many different aspects of a program that you can look into. And also just thinking about yourself. This is a lot of the things that I have to remind myself of. This is that it's my experience. It's
right.
My application. It's who I am. Who am I presenting to these colleges, and not striving to be somebody else in order to
right.
these colleges or get them to accept me. I'm just going to be me. And if they want me, that's great. And if they don't, that's also great.
Yeah, I think one of the worries that people have, one of the students worry, especially if they want to perform, right? Obviously, we know the chances, just like football in college, right? You got almost 100 players. How many of them make it to the NFL? Not as many. And so even if you do have the talent, there's always that fear, I'm not going to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
So if I'm in a small school and I know that Broadway isn't coming my way, then I'm going to miss out that maybe someone will see me and say I can fit into one of their productions. Mm-hmm. You seem to not agree with that, and I'm not saying that you do or don't, but I'm saying it seems like what you're saying is it doesn't really matter if you're not getting what you need. It won't matter anyways, because even if they find you, they may not find the best you.
Yeah, I mean, you're always trying to strive to be the best that you can be. And as long as you're working as hard as you should be, as hard as you know that you can be, then the universe will do the rest, is kind of my philosophy on, especially with colleges, because I mean, I'm a tall, skinny white girl, and a lot of the time schools are trying to diversify and make sure they have all the missing pieces in their program as far as people, because a lot of schools only accept 16 to 20 kids into their program every
Right.
year. A lot of the times less than that.
Right.
So how many tall, skinny white girls who can sing, dance, and act are they going to accept? And so
Right.
it's a lot of the times it comes down to your personality. Who are they going to want to work with for 4 years? Who are you going to want to work with for
Right.
4 years?
Right.
It comes down to a lot of a lot of times it doesn't even come down to the talent. It comes down to who are you?
Yes.
What holes can you fit? What
Right.
holes
Right.
can you fill in the program?
Right. I mean, that's one of the things that I did learn from watching a lot of videos, because there's a lot of great YouTube channels they don't have very many subscribers, but these people will get out there, guys and gals will get out there and they'll tell you things. And then one of the things they tell you is, look, like in Michigan, everybody wants to get to Michigan. Well, they're going to have 5 openings or 10 openings, whatever, and they have a production. So they're going to look at what's missing. And if you don't fit what's missing, you could be the next person on Broadway that's going to be a millionaire, and they're going to say, oh man, we could have got that. It doesn't really matter, because each program is going to say, not only it's like a team, right? It's like a football team. You could be the best quarterback and become an NFL star. But if Ohio State, where I went, has all the quarterbacks they need, doesn't matter. You're not getting in. They're going to need a guy in the line. So what you're saying is that you have to sort of let go of the school itself, look at yourself, see what you are, what do you want, make sure the school fills that. If you are doing the best, I would say today and age, and this would be another question I would have for you, but I would guess that just because you're in a school that doesn't have that name recognition, or didn't have the last 4 people in Hamilton that was in the same class, that doesn't mean that these people in Broadway, they're looking everywhere. And today it isn't hard to look everywhere, right? I mean, you can be in a college of a very small place, and if you are a talent and someone sees you and they have a production wherever, it could be in Chicago that's going to go national, it could be in LA that's going to national, it doesn't matter. They're going to go, oh, you're not from Michigan. They don't care. I mean, they're looking. And so is that
Sometimes.
I'm sorry?
I said it helps sometimes.
Oh, sure.
If you're looking for a true education, and maybe in a smaller school with not a big name program, with not a lot of big name people that come out of the school, if that's the right program for you, and if you're looking for more connections, maybe you apply to a school that has more business opportunities and stuff like that, and connections with the business. It comes down to a lot of that consideration. And for me, I tried to fasten my list to all kinds of different places: city schools, schools in the middle of nowhere, big, small schools, schools with a lot of business opportunities, schools with a lot of performance opportunities, for schools that only let you perform when you're a junior. I wanted to diversify my list as much as possible, which is why I ended up applying to 19 schools, which is honestly a recommended amount of schools, because of you have 3 reach schools, you have 9 target schools, and then you have another 3 safety schools. And it doesn't matter which one you get into, you're going to end up going somewhere maybe, but there's just so many things you have to consider, especially and thinking about maybe you really are wanting to narrow down your list and make sure that you're only applying to city schools. Or maybe I'm just going to get distracted by the city and I need to really focus on my craft. I'm going to go to a school that's in a small town. And that's also such a great thing, knowing yourself and knowing your struggles, and how can I make my experience as fulfilling as possible. And tailoring your list of schools that will do that for you is just knowing yourself is such a big part of making your experience as good as it possibly can be.
Okay, now let's get to one other thing, which is going to be interesting for people like my daughter. Again, I have a good point of view to ask you questions, but what are you doing? Okay, you are applying to schools, but that's just one phrase. What's applying to schools? I mean, are you making videos? Are you making one video for everybody? Tell us about the actual process of what you're doing.
So a lot of schools, what I wanted to do personally, because I do also value academics is applying to the schools through the common application or the coalition application. And that's just for the university itself. A lot of the times, or some of the times, you don't have to apply to the university academically before you apply artistically. But I wanted to just make sure I had it all together at the same time, for scholarship, for merit scholarship opportunities, for honors college opportunities, things like that. So that was me. I applied to the colleges academically before I even applied artistically. So that includes your applications, your financial application, and also supplemental essays. So I ended up writing about 11 essays for
Oh my gosh.
ranging from 250 words to 1,000 words. So that was probably not the most painful part because I wanted to do it. It was a
Yeah.
for me. I wanted to show them who I was and show the university or the admissions counselors in the theater program who I was before they even got to see me in my audition.
Right.
So that was step one. They're all kind of happening at the same time, but they're organized into.
When did you start? I keep going, but when was the time you actually started the process? I'm not talking about getting prepared by, like for instance, Luanda's already working on her repertory, because you have to have songs for auditions. You really want to have those in the bag for years, right? You got to have those. But what I'm saying, you started at a point. When did you actually start? Did you start in your senior year, before your senior year, in the summer before when did you start?
So I started working on repertoire for auditions in March of this year, actually. So I didn't start super early. It wasn't really I didn't really know what was going on. I kind of had to figure it out on my own because I didn't have a lot of people above me that had ended up going to college for this. And so I kind of had to take initiative and get started with something. And I'm a person that doesn't like to over practice things, so I feel like if I had started super early, I would have gotten bored with my material. You know what I mean? So I wanted to have it be fresh enough so that I could perform it with as much excitement and energy as possible. So I started looking at repertoire, which was most of the colleges. The colleges have kind of blessed us. I know a lot of people that applied very long time ago did not have this, but a lot of the BFA programs have come up with this common pre-screen. So a pre-screen is a video, it's a self-tape basically of yourself singing and acting and dancing that you send in prior to your actual audition for the school. So you send in videos and then they say, hey, we want to see more of you. We're going to give you a call back to our school. And then you actually audition for the school. So that is the biggest part performance-wise before you're actually.
Do you actually go to the school?
During COVID time, no, but.
Oh, so where have you been doing your live stuff for dancing and all that?
I've been doing it at the studio. So we do.
Is that what it's so Angela, you actually have her. So when I was walking past the door one time and I saw Lisa, her helicopter, I'm kidding. Lisa, your mom's not a helicopter mom. I just said that because
that
I
was
think
awesome.
I was
Sorry.
like,
yeah.
but she isn't. She's absolutely an awesome person. But when I saw that, do you tape it and then send it, or are there some live?
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a
lot.
live.
You do your pre-screens first, which is the tape bit. But there's
Really?
multiple things. So like for dance, depending on which school it is or if it's Common Core, it could be like a ballet technique they want. Jazz, like for summer, we had to do a jazz piece that was choreographed, and then we had to do ballet, a whole ballet section, a whole tap section. It was so much. Then you send that, then you get the call back where they actually talk to you live. I mean,
Oh,
that was
wow.
just me to get them to say like, yeah, I like you enough to have you come audition.
Oh my
how many hours
gosh.
did you say, Summer, it took us? I mean, it must
For choreographing, practicing, recording, it was probably like 8 hours.
That's what I was thinking too.
10 hours.
Yeah, and it was tremendous.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
injuries during the process, which did not help at all.
No, And
So
then we've had people doing their vocal pre-screens here, their acting pre-screens. Summer did all of those here. So we
Wow.
set up a studio basically with lights and the whole nine, and recorder.
Right.
And then did you tell them how many schools you actually sent in auditions for? Like
So
you applied to how many?
I applied to 19 schools in total. It was originally 17, and then I applied to 2 more.
Tossed a couple more in the end.
So what happens now? I mean, you've applied, you've done this, you've got a great studio. You're lucky enough to have Angela in your life all this time, get you a place for it. So Angela, you're going to be around. I'm going to make sure I'm going to make sure she's around for at least 2 more years. Kidding,
Actually,
of
Dave,
course.
I can't hear you for some reason. It's like cutting. It's like I don't know.
Oh, that's because that's on your end. I'm sorry, it's on your end. So don't worry. Yeah, it means it's on your end that the cutting is happening. I think it will happen sometimes. Okay, but that's the live stuff. But the question I'm going to get back to is when now you've done these things and you've applied to 19 schools. How do you know and how do you find out that what are the processes? I guess there's steps, right?
Yeah, so once they've reviewed your application and your pre-screens, they will send you an email and say, hey, we're going to call you back. Here is your information. You can go ahead and schedule your callback, and you get to pick your own date and time and stuff. Or they say, here's your time. Let us know if you need to change it. Or they say, hey, thank you so much for your application, but I'm sorry, we can't give you a spot in our program this year. And then they give you, that's the end of your experience at that college.
Okay. And that's, I see. So it really is just a gambit. It's like you were saying, it's really more of how a college is looking for certain people.
Yep.
I'm curious. Do they say, well, we really liked you, but we are looking for sort of different people to fill what we're looking for? Or do they ever say that, or they never say that?
It depends on the school. For smaller schools, sometimes they will give you critiques. I haven't experienced that. Sometimes they'll give you critiques on your actual auditions if you pass your pre-screens. But for bigger schools with a lot of applicants, like they get tons of applicants, then they don't do that because they just don't have time to do that.
So when do you expect, or did you get, and how long does it take to get acceptances, and what is that? What is an acceptance? Because obviously you have a pre-screen. Then if you get called from the pre-screen, that's a screen. That's like step number 2. Then you would do an in-person or live with them, and then. I guess is there any other steps, or is the next step just acceptance? And if it is there like a deadline when they give you? Because you are a senior, I mean, you're graduating in the end of May, I would imagine, or something like that. When would you know? Let's say, you'd have 3 schools that are still out that you're thinking that you could get. I mean, when do you find out?
Well, for pre-screens, you will find out 2 weeks to 2 months after you send in your pre-screens. And then you schedule auditions, which are all of mine are in January, February so far. But then I won't receive some decisions until early January, which means that my callbacks could be in March. So we do our audition, and then there's either a day they'll tell you, we're going to let you know, you'll know by this day, and then everybody finds out on that day, or they might do it sporadically. It depends on the school and what they decide to do, and they may give you an acceptance right at your callback. There's a lot of different things that they can do, and especially with things like CAP, College Audition Project, and Unifieds, and stuff like that. They could give you decisions right then and there, and they can give you offers right then and there. They can give you scholarships right then and there, and you can either accept them then, or you can defer it, or there's just a lot of different, it depends on the person. It depends on the person and the college. Sorry, you're muted.
Thank you very much. It said to me as what's really great? I started talking and the software tells me you're muted. That was because I was coughing there. I don't have I don't have COVID, by the way. I've taken the tests twice through the blood. But anyways, so it sounds like because you're not doing the unified, it sounds like because of you wanted to get a really good variety. And I think with the unifieds, you get a different type of groups of schools. Is that correct? That would be my last question. Is that correct, or is it still because what I've heard is for a school to get into that, they're not going to be one of the smaller schools, or is that wrong?
For sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. So for unifieds, it's I think it's 25 schools that they call, but for CAP it's 60. So 60 is a large number. So it could be small schools. I know Samantha Barnes, one of our another one of my friends did it, who is another student at TaylorMade. She really liked it. She auditioned for 30 schools one day, and then she did 30 schools the next day in just one audition, or a total of 2 auditions, and then she gets callbacks over the course of 3 days. So it can be small schools, it can be really big schools. I know University of Michigan's there, Penn State is there, some big names, some small names like Valdosta and University of Alabama. Like those are the small schools that are also attending at CAP. And then Unified is more of the bigger schools, but I think there are some smaller schools. But yeah.
So you have one of your friends who went the different route. Yeah. So yours is just one story. Maybe what we'll do is we'll get her on the next talk to talk with her about her different route. Very different idea. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, listen, we can talk a lot, but we've got another person we're going to be talking to today. But I want to thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, it's really important for us because this is Taylor Talks, and she is just a wonderful. I've got a comment here I'm going to put up to make her be embarrassed a little bit, but I want to thank you, Summer, for sharing your story with us.
Well, thank you very much. I thank you to Ms. Angela for everything. You for Mr. Taylor for putting this together. I hope to have it continue so that we can do this more often.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a good thing. I think it can really help a lot of people. And I think if we keep doing this, every month go on for years, we'll be able to see and talk to you a year from now to find out where you ended up, what you're doing, and whether you're happy, that kind of thing. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
All right. Well, Angela, my goodness. I mean, I wish I'd picked somebody who really liked you, but I'm sorry about that.
I lucked out.
You can, you can pay her. She accepts Zelly, so there you go. But I did want to put this comment because if you are watching, you can put your comments here. It says, "This is Jackie Boner. It says Angela Morando Taylor is the best out there. She is beyond loving and caring and takes so much time with each of her students."
Thanks, Jackie.
Gee whiz, I don't know. You're paying the right people, or you're scaring them, or there is that slight possibility that you are actually the person you are. And I have a feeling it's hard to fake that. It really is. So before we bring in this next person, who I know has been waiting in the wings, and it's just we did a McDonald's commercial when our Samba group. You saw our Samba group, right? So they decided they were going to do a. Here's a story of the industry, right? They're going to do a McDonald's commercial, and it was for Latin America, which is actually much bigger than just the American market. So here's the backstory: the 2 guys who are like friends, and they go around the world, and everywhere they go, they get a hankering for McDonald's, of course, right? And so one of the places was going to be McDonald's in Brazil, and so we literally made this Brazilian parade go by past the drive-through window, right? And so we got there, and we got there, and we figured, okay. We had to get there early. It was a filming place where you had all the studio below it. They had the kitchens down there, and above it was where they filmed all the McDonald's stuff. They had this cutaway McDonald's, all that, and people were biting hamburgers and spitting them out 50 times in a row. It was just amazing, right? And so we get there. The director finally comes, who's an Argentinian film director, and I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, hey, I make really great films, and then I need to get paid, so I do this."
So true.
And so he looked around, and I'm thinking, okay, we've been there 2 hours. He looks around, he goes, we're going to shoot at dusk. We'll see you. And I go, what? And we had to wait for so long. And then poor Abril, who has been waiting here for all this time, been here even before we started, has been here. But won't you tell us, obviously you don't do this alone. Tell us about what it's like to be, obviously you work with people in productions. It's a little different to have your own studio and then to put into somebody's hands teaching, right? I mean, that's especially you. I'm sure it's control freak. It's like I want to know everything that's going on.
I'm
What?
actually quite picky.
Yeah. So tell us about that before we bring on Abril, so we can appreciate why she's so quiet and shy and does everything you
so
say.
lovely.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, first of all,
Tell us about it.
Abril is not only is she a former student of mine, but she's also my assistant, and she teaches for us. She's just magnificent. I've known Abril for quite a few years, and I was lucky enough to have her as my dance captain. It's another thing that I do in the high schools, because professionally I was a dance captain for many of the shows that I did. So one of the things that I wanted to bring in when I started choreographing high schools was teaching students who want to go into the business how to be dance captains, so that when they got to their final destination of jobs, if that's
Right.
something that they wanted to add to it, that they could. And Abril
Right.
was one of the students that I took in, and she's fantastic. And I will tell you that you're right when it comes to teachers. Like even my ballet teacher, Miss Alyssa, it took me 2 years of watching her, not creepy at all, to like
Oh
actually
boy.
hire her.
Well, I'm just out of the box set. I'm going to do this MC job for you and do this show, and you haven't watched me very long, so if I get fired, I'm not too worried. Find somebody. But it sounds like you really take a lot of time in finding them. So let's bring her up and say hello to her. You're muted there, so unmute yourself, Abril, so we can hear you.
There she is.
Hello.
There you are. I mean, you seem like the shy person when I met you, so quiet, but she seemed to do everything. Every time I would go up to Angela and ask her a question, like, why are you asking me? Ask Abril. She's the one who knows how to do everything. And so, welcome, Abril. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I appreciate you waiting there. I tried to, at least give you a story to make sure, you stayed around and stuff, but it's really great to have you on. So why don't you, I'm going to leave you and Angela for a little bit. You tell us a little bit about how you met Angela and became in the position you are at the amazing Tailor Made Studio and Dance Theater.
Okay. Well, I met Angela about like 6 years ago, I want to say, because I'm now a junior in college. I met her like starting high school. And it's an honor to be an alumni and now her assistant and a staff member at TaylorMade. It's an incredible experience how far I've come, which I would have never really imagined. So I have a crazy journey with Miss Angela, but we spent a lot of time together from March to now, I want to say, whether it was over Zoom, on the phone, me cutting pool noodles for 5 days, at the dance studio, whatever it might be. We spent a lot of time together. We had a really long journey through this whole COVID situation, and why I'm part of the team today. So I've as Miss Angela mentioned, I was her dance captain for 2 years, I want to say, in high school, and it was a great experience. And then I wanted to go to school I wanted to go to college for dance and theater, and I was really unsure of like what I was doing, and I went to school and I wasn't I didn't really know what I wanted, and I was still confused, and I still needed guidance. And the one person that I went to was Miss Angela, and I called her, and she knew exactly what to say, and she helped me through absolutely everything. And I really have to say that she really helped me find my purpose in the dance world and the art world and what I want to do in this field. It took a lot of self-discovery and trying things and seeing what I like and what I don't like, and there was a lot of trial and error. And I really want to say that she was the person who really found that for me and found what I am here to do in the dance world. And starting with that is teaching and being a leader, and I really, really enjoy helping others. I would say that is, if you ask me what I want to do in life, I wouldn't tell you a specific thing. I would just say probably help other people. That is what I want to do ultimately, and this summer I really got a taste of that. I got to start teaching myself with writing, helping kids train, which is so important, and learning how to be strong. And
being a dance major in college, it's like you go to college and it's like you're suddenly grown up and you're suddenly, you don't, they let go of your hand and you kind of have to figure it out. And you have to be strong and you have to understand so many things, that go on in the real world, in the art world, and all of these things. But I would say that Miss Angela has shaped me as not only a dancer, as a teacher, as a person. Truly, she taught me how to be strong and how to deal with everything I've
Right.
dealt through in the whole college, side of me.
Wow.
And
She
yeah,
was.
I just want to say that like she has really like I have so much to go in this like educator side of me and being a teacher. I have so much to learn still, but I really think that I'm truly on the right path. And I think I owe that all to her to really teach me how to be a teacher and an educator, and how to understand people, and how to, break out of my shell and start being more confident and letting myself lead other people, and, all of those very valuable life skills that, you don't really find sometimes until you make a mistake or until you learn, throughout life. And I feel like I have just gained so many valuable, not only just artist skills, but myself as an individual, just life skills in general, that I will carry with me like forever. And honestly, working with her from like March to now, and that dance studio and doing everything we've done, I really want to say that like I could probably do anything in this world. I really don't. I really think.
Whoa, come on. All right. Now it's getting a little bit thick here.
It was intense. I'm not gonna say it was hard.
It was a wild ride, I want to say.
No, I can imagine.
I will never say that. I will never, I will never say no to trying something. I'll tell you that. After what we did, what I was able to be a part of, the intensive and summer classes and all of this crazy stuff, building the dance studio to where it is. And I
but literally building this dance studio. I mean, it's like, I hope people are listening, understand that was not a figurative, literal. I mean, there are pool noodles under the floor. I will repeat, there are pool noodles under the floor.
How many did you figure you cut?
I don't even remember.
It was bad.
Like of the pieces, I want to say like 500 or more.
Way
really
more.
Oh my gosh.
For each panel there's 60 tiny pool noodles.
Oh my gosh.
60 times 33. That's how many you actually cut.
Because I'm a creative mind, comes up with storylines all the time. Here's my storyline. I'm going to walk in 5 months from now. I'm going to see you both on the floor with drinks, tearing up the floor and hitting each other with pool noodles. That's what and I'm going to come up with an entire sitcom on that alone. I mean, worst case, we're just going to make you into a reality show. I mean, who cares? There you go. But well, I'm gonna take Angela away because I don't think you can heap any more praise from her. And if otherwise, we're going to really get accused of going too far and being unrealistic. But the truth is, it's really true. But I want to get to the side, since this is a studio, and because I'm a little more emotionally detached from it, even though my daughter goes there. I wanted to ask you, obviously, what you've learned from her is incredible. But what have you learned? Because I've watched you teach classes, and what do you teach? If a student comes in, let's take two types of student. Well, let's take two at least. Two types of students. I know there are some younger students. My daughter did a lot of productions at Showtime and was involved with a lot of the kids. And a lot of the kids from Showtime, because that unfortunately has not been able to make it through COVID as easily because it's more of a performance base. They're coming to you guys. What is it that you found when you teach younger kids? I'm not talking about 3 or 4. I'm talking about the younger students. What are you learning about yourself, and what do you teach? If I'm a parent and I'm really liking what I'm hearing about Angela and the studio, what can I expect as a parent of a younger student coming into Angela's studio? Because I know it's more than dance as well, right? It's not just dance.
Right. So primarily I teach the more beginner students, and I would say that I really, we really focus on finding their technique, and then them to understand their technique that they're learning in a right way, in a correct way, to learn what they're doing and really understand what they're doing. So understanding what the body is doing and how the body is working. And that's why Angela discusses like anatomy so much. So the kids really understand what they're doing and what muscles they're moving and all these, what bones are there and what they're doing. So I would say that I primarily focus on them understanding what they're doing and the basics and what they can do to grow that. So like if we're in a ballet class, also I want them to really understand, how to work hard and how to come into class ready and prepared and understand what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. And also just to have a good time. I mean, I love dance and I dance because I love it so much. So I really
I saw you dance. You're a very good dancer. That's for sure.
And I want to bring that to kids too. I want them to have a good time, even if they're struggling, because I know how hard it is to really just be struggling and, maybe feeling defeated and things like that. And I know how difficult that is. So I want them to feel like they left class accomplishing at least one thing. And that's my goal in every single class with them, especially if they're just starting dance for the first time, because it can be a lot. It can be really intimidating and scary, especially ballet, because you're moving in ways that you're like, my body doesn't want to do this. So yeah, I would say that just like also being really positive and just like having a good outlook for dance. And I would say that that's my main goal, and teaching kids to be, nice to each other and supportive. Right. That's all I could ever ask for, like in my college experience right now, is my friends are incredible and my peers are incredible. And I would say I get all my inspiration and motivation from them. And I want them to feel that same way with their friends and their peers. And I would say that's being positive and being helpful to each other and supportive to each other is a really big thing that TaylorMade offers in general. Right. And yeah, just like learning how to work hard and learning how to be strong, but also having a good time and really knowing that training is going to get, it's going to get you far, and along with so many other things, but you have to start somewhere, right? Everybody has to start somewhere.
Yeah, I think what it sounds like, it is a new way to teach in general. And I know even in athletics, it's been that way. They don't teach athletics only now, especially if it's a team sport, which really theater and dance and singing, it's a team sport. And, getting along, feeling good about yourself, being positive, really loving the people you're working with, having a good rapport is just as important, because people can see it. I remember we have a samba group and we've had it for like 26 years. And someone sent me an email and it really hit home how in performance, it's not always technique. It's not always that you do the amazing flips because we were a group that was an amateur group that had all kinds of costumes. We had during our performances, things would go wrong. People would yell and kinds of stuff. And it was funny. We got an email from somebody. I thought, how could this? Because I studied music theory and all this stuff, classical piano, all that kind of stuff. And I said, why do people like this? And what I found out was really something that I didn't understand, which was they liked that we were having fun. It didn't matter how good we were. We had to be pretty good, and they liked that. But if we were having fun, it covered for so much. We got an email saying, we did a show in San Diego, and this is the guy who wrote it. He says, I felt like I walked into a circus family's backyard. There was a giant guy who was 500 pounds loping around, and then this little tiny woman yelling at him, which was my wife, who's the show director. There was a guy playing a frenetic little ukulele, and he was just going so fast you couldn't see his fingers. The other people were singing, they were dancing, and and he said, it was chaos, but I couldn't take my eyes off of it. But what I found out is that you can't, and I think that's what Angela does, is she realizes, she told me a story that was very poignant, which was she saw a top theater student not where she could have been because of her academics. And you think to yourself, here's a person that's got everything, maybe even to go to Broadway, who knows? And there's a part of their life that didn't allow that to happen. And it sounds like from you, Angela, I don't hear, well, I learned plie and I learned how to, do this tap move, or I learned the technique of how to sing in the face of my mask of my face and project. I mean, you spent most of your time telling a bunch of other things. And not only that, you seem to teach the kids the same thing. Is that a correct assessment?
Well, to be quite honest, like I've really learned a lot from Miss Angela, and not just, how to be a teacher, but like before I was even like approaching that side of myself, really just like I did learn, how to plie and how to tap and all of these
Sure,
things.
of course you do.
I did learn, the important stuff, where it comes from, why do we do it, what does it do for my body, why do I need it, all of the other things that maybe you don't get somewhere else, where maybe I plied for 5 years and I didn't know why I plied. And maybe now I have, I could tell you, we could talk about an hour we could talk for an hour about plies, so yeah, I mean, I feel like.
Well, we want to make sure people watch this. No, I'm just kidding. You and I may be very entertained. I'm giving a hard time, man.
No, I can. No, I see where you're coming from, because I feel like in the whole time, shifting from being a her student, to being her dance captain, to being kind of an assistant, on the side, and then being like a more professional assistant, and then now like being able to teach classes. I feel like I've gone through so many different stages of learning things, and I feel like you can never keep learning. I feel like every day I learn something new, from the kids, from the staff involved, from the place in general. Every day is an opportunity to learn something new, in my opinion, and I feel like that has been something very valuable that I've found, being part of TaylorMade and being an alumni and now being a staff member and all of that. So I would say that I've had quite a long journey with TaylorMade, but and great, everything.
Right. You do. Yeah. You learn all the techniques. Believe me, you do. I mean, I've seen, you can watch them, but we're going to end us talking with you right now, but we do have some things to take care of before you go. Someone said 1600. Now, so someone else said, I don't even want it. That's Emma. I know Emma. She a very good friend of Lawanda's. She just put a hammer up there. I mean, she is a very talented singer, dancer, all around music. I mean, this is what you learn at this. These are star students at TaylorMade. And of course, actually, the numbers, Summer says 1900 pieces of pool noodles. So listen, I want to thank you so much, Abril, for sticking around and talking with us. It's really quite amazing to hear your story, and we're really here because of Angela Taylor and what she's gives the community, and her sharing it with everybody, and the growth of people around her. And now we wonder why so many people lend her costumes, give her studios. Well, they see her work. Obviously there's something there. But I want to thank you very much for coming on, Abril, and talking. I call you Abril because in Portuguese that means April. Yeah. So there you go. So Abril, thank you. Abril. Yeah. That's okay. One of her talents, Angela's, may not be accents. Maybe that's. But anyways, thank you so much, Abril.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye, sweetie.
All right. Well, I tell you, I don't know who you're paying them well. I don't know what's happening, but they're either lying through their teeth or there's something here. But I can tell you, I really want to, thank you for letting me, put together this talk time and the Taylor Talks. I think it's going to be really invaluable. Just like, I knew it, and I'm sitting here. We're sitting on this. All we have to do is give her a time, and she can put her phone up or her. Or you on your PC or your phone? I don't even know.
It's my phone.
Yeah, so I mean, you can't even get her on her darn PC or a Mac. So she's on her phone. We can get her on her phone. I want to thank Lisa Severin for helping set up the Summer and Abril and getting all this coordinated, and everybody else, your husband for putting on, his, he was on giving us some good comments here in the beginning. And he also said, who do you want to look at? Yeah, he does. He's sitting here. He says, who do you want? Oh, remember when I made that the comment about the picture? Here's what he said. Who would you rather look at? Yeah, you're right. I'd rather look at a very nice, cute little girl than looking at an English guy who knows way too much about Shakespeare and intimidates the hell out of me. So, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I really do hope, and I want to get people coming back, and let's do this again. What do you think? You think this is? I think it's going to be valuable to the community.
No, I do. And thank you for actually all of you. I don't want to say you forced me to do this today, but you guys kind of made it happen around me, which was very helpful because I don't know how to explain to people that there's literally not enough hours in the day.
Yeah, I know.
For everything that I do. And so, so this was actually really great. It was a lot of fun, and it gave me a minute to kind of sit down and defrag.
Absolutely, I know that, and I will have to say you did audition for me, because the day we were the week of the first intensives here, which imagine you just open up at COVID. It says, hey, we're going to open up at COVID, and then you open up COVID, and then you have a June intensive, and you're trying to do all the things with not even all the guidelines, but you guys did do all the guidelines that you had and followed them, and then through all of that, and we're doing things live. I helped you set up some of the live cameras and all that kind of stuff, and we've been through a few iterations of that. And then in the middle of this, I see someone put out a video in the middle of this, and you were talking as if you were on a talk show and was calm and had rested for 5 days, and it came out okay. It wasn't like this blithering, idiotic rambling of a person who is, most of the other time, who knows how it's even happening. You remind me. Here's what I would say Angela is. The guy who spins the plates on those poles. But no, this is the catch. If I made a cartoon of it, they would be all going and you would be somewhere else. And they're still up. And you come by, you kind of touch one, you do something that doesn't look like you're doing anything, and then you go off, but the plates are still spinning. That to me is really who you are. And, you are, just a wonderful person. And I hope we can communicate. And honestly, the way I look at it is what you're giving my daughter and everybody else's kids and adults. I took some tap class when I had some time, and
you were really good.
Yeah, I got some rhythm.
You did good.
But anyways, it was very good. The teacher's fantastic until she goes and says, "Oh, you can do this too," and then so don't think that you just learn life skills here. Believe me, the level is very high.
Learn how to dance. Yeah,
absolutely, very high. But I think what it is that you are giving you're giving people the opportunity, especially during COVID, and giving them a home, like everyone's saying. This is a place where my daughter looks forward to. Before you were in your theater class and you're with everybody and you have that going. You have after school in the drama class and you're going on this production and that production. You've really just shifted the playing field, but the same thing going on. So people need to know that this exists, because not everybody's doing it, because it ain't easy.
No, it's not. I will tell you, it is incredibly difficult. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew how it would be hard, but again, it's like you just don't know where it's going to be hard or how it's going to be hard. The only thing that I've been able to really hold on to that will happen every day is that it will never turn out the way I thought it would. Like, that's pretty much it. I just,
yes.
And,
but it's like choreography. It's like writing. It's like Broadway, because you come up with the first book. It's never this first book. It goes through. I'm writing a book. I got it from my father. It's sitting over there, a real book. And it's like the book underneath it was the first book. If you can find any pages that have anything in common, let me know. Because that's the key to doing and making production and art. You have to do it, and it's going to be changing. And and COVID is the ultimate in change. So
this is just, it is really wild. And even as far as like with the school productions, a couple of them, what we're working on now is because the schools just are really not. I don't think they're going to let us do anything. For the
Right,
rest
of
the year.
course.
So we're probably going to do it through the schools. Like,
Right.
sorry, do it through TaylorMade.
Right,
So that the
tailor-made, right,
kids at the high school can actually do a
Right.
show if this all works out.
right.
You know, and we get a following and people want to see things like this, I suppose. But it is. It's
Oh,
just
yeah,
a
they do.
complete flip change. These kids from going from like doing so much to where we're at.
Well, I think one of the other things too is that a program like this, you got to remember, we have as many as 20 people watching live, which is pretty darn good when we have a YouTube channel that just started, right? With
Oh,
with
good. That's good.
so we have that. But the other thing, it's recorded and people will watch it. And I think one of the things is this can be you can be a model for other people who maybe have studios or had studios or want to open studios who said, it's not going to work. Well, it is going to work. And I'll think the number one reason it works is because the kids need a place.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go, my daughter said, I'm learning all this dance, Dad, and she has got no, I'm not a rich man, but we saved our money in dollars up through the years, and we have a little house with my, bedroom where she has some dance space, and it's pretty big for the average bedroom. And she goes, I don't have enough space. I said, well, you got Taylor Studio is right there, and so you're providing that place, which is in great fault. But I'm going to put up here another thing, because you can put it up here, up your high. There you go. Move your high. It says, move your head up a little bit. There, we can see you. It says, in such a loving family, we were friends from kindergarten before I knew how much she would help my Kay Angela,
Her dog.
Kay Angela Morel helped us get our first vocal coach, and she saw something beautiful in my Kay. So much that she has. So that she made handmade a card for her first talent show. So she has been a guide to my oldest. Has been many friends because of it. Had many friends because of it. So,
Yeah, that's so true. I forgot. Yeah, her first performance, I made.
I read that
as
like an idiot.
performers, we have little Lucky Charms that we like to wear on
Oh.
stage sometimes. So I made her first performance Lucky Charm that she could pin into her costume. Because
Yeah.
just a
Yeah. So Emma's back here before we go. She said, no, it's not just a hammer. She said that dance is the best part of my day. But she also sings up a storm. I have
Yes.
her over, Sarah Lash, Emma, and Luanda at our piano here. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful.
It is
It's beautiful.
amazing. It's just really amazing.
It shows
But
how
okay.
much talent there is, isn't there?
Oh,
So much talent out in the
It
world.
really is.
It
It really is. It really is. But I want to thank you. We've been about an hour and a half, which is pretty good. 90 minutes is good. And so you think we can do this again in the future? We're going to corral you. Look, I got it now. I know that everybody's going to love this. This is going to really bring a lot of people your way as well. And people are going to learn from it. But to sell it to you, just think of it as 90 minutes off.
Wait, what?
90 minutes of time off, of rest.
Yeah.
See, there you go. You'll be sitting down. You'll only be on for part of the time. You'll have to be treated like a star, sitting in your trailer, waiting to have it. People are talking glowingly about you. So
know.
I'm here to sell you on the concept of let's keep this going, and it'll launch my career not as a MC, but I really want to thank you and everybody again. Remember, shows coming up. What time are the shows?
Saturday and Sunday, the 12th and 13th at 7:00 p.m.
That's
And,
right. We have a
serving drinks, because everybody's got to have a little festive.
Ooh, I won't ask what kind of drink, but it will be wet, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And,
It'll be all legal.
Yes, and bring your mask.
And bring your mask. I got that. So, but I really look forward to the show. I look forward to more work, and I know this isn't going to stop here, because I've heard there is at least Boca has picked Jekyll and Hyde. So I know there are dance numbers in that, and somehow
Of course.
there'll be some involvement there. So we look forward, and let's get back together beginning of January and see how everything went. So buy your tickets, folks. Thank you very much, Angela. Thank you
right,
so
David.
much. All right. Buy your tickets, folks. Remember, let me put that up there again. You can go to the website, which is Taylor Made Dance and Theater. You can get your tickets virtually. I think there's still a few tickets in person at the studios. I can't remember the name again, but the studio, you go there, find out, go and click on that website, and you can buy your tickets online. And if you are far away and want to watch, and especially if you have a kid or a relative or one of your friends and you don't live close, now's the chance that you actually get to watch it live. This is not live to tape where they pretend that the reality show, which is really scripted. No, this is great. The show is written by Michael, Angela's husband, choreography, of course, by Angela, and all the, like she said, great talent. It is amazing talent there. So thank you all for tuning in to Taylor Talk. And I hope you've enjoyed that. We'll go out with our stinger. All right, guys, I'm Dave D. Hilser, your MC, theater MC. Ciao for now.